All right, folks, welcome back. Game number 1 in a brand new SO3. We're in the losers bracket. I'm not sure if we missed any of these sub shoutouts, but just in case, Direct Action and Salil, thank you both so much for resubbing as we check those notifications. But getting into this, what I find interesting is just a reminder to everybody, both of these players, either of them could still qualify through. Oh, well, bye. You cheeky bugger. Either of them could still qualify through the losers bracket, but more on that after. The bottom right side, we've got the red Protoss. Team Liquid's MaNa. He's doing it. He's really going to do it.
In the bottom left, kind of. It is the blue Zerg Bly.
He does this after having been scouted too. Like, that's the thing. I thought for a moment with that hesitation, he'd think, okay, MaNa saw this, I'll just expand, I'll double expand or something, right? Like,
yeah.
But he's still going to commit to it.
What is the tiniest bit tricky, and it's good that MaNa scouts, is that people are taking the third as their natural on Ruins, as far as Zerg goes. Oh, yeah, so it's a good thing MaNa didn't assume that was the case. It would be really like a stretch to assume that was the case. So thankfully he does, check. And then he also checks for this. I feel like this is actually not yet as figured out as when you scout it as a Terran, because we saw Euthermal really respond very correctly, but this can sometimes be a little more difficult. It's just the thing that, Protosses do not have a lot of units in the early game.
Well, and it was really, tanks, medevacs, shuffling them around their range. That's what shut it down and made Bly look so silly for having tried it before. Doing it this time, though, he's pulling some drones.
Spinecrawler Rush, yeah.
I was going to say, this is different than the Roaches we saw before.
What's funny, though, is that it is, it seems to be Spinecrawler Rush for Protoss and then Roach Rush for Terran, which I could have sworn it was, the reverse before.
Yeah, actually, I think Ravagers were better. And I actually would argue still are to an extent. But the problem is Bly has got nothing to fight with right now. He's going to try and get these Spinecrawlers down, but the Zealot may swap its focus. I'm unsure. He doesn't have money to plant 3. This is going to get a little bit awkward before it gets better, that's for certain. But the Queen coming out, the only job she really has to do is get a creep tumor down. Because the idea is you don't really need this hatchery. It's nice to have, but it's the creep spread that you want the most.
Yeah, I mean, that is true, but you also want the larva to make more lings, so... Yeah. Hatchery going down, no bueno. Bly is already in a little bit of trouble here. MaNa did purposely wait to pop that overcharge,
he's trying to catch the Queen.
Yeah, there's not much of a reason to do it on the hatchery. You knew that was probably going to go down anyway. Oh, the Queen goes down, the Spinecrawler, one might finish. If one finishes, all of them probably will, but no creep.
There's no creep, so you can't do anything with them. So this game is probably over, unfortunately.
Yeah, I do believe it is. So very odd that Bly is doing this twice in a row, but we did not see the series as a Showtime where this might have worked.
Well, at the end of the day, it's game 1, and I'd rather him have risked a move like this in game 1 than, say, game 2, where your life's already on the line. Plus, Ruins of Endion just may be a map Bly didn't want to play this on. Let's not forget, we watched him play versus Drogo yesterday here. It ended in that horrible base trade with a very awkward ending. And I imagine, well, not all PVZs for him go that direction. They do probably get a little bit dicey like that, more consistently than not. Speed is finish up with these lanes, going to run in on these rocks. Still gonna he's still gonna try and fight this game, and I guess his army supply technically is something that can fight. But I mean, there's no real way to pick up that mothership core. Overcharges are going to continuously be a problem. Production's gonna be picking up as these sentries finish too. I mean, I'm cheering for Bly. Make no mistake. I just don't know if he can pull it off.
Yeah, it's not happening.
I mean, this time around, Lings are here to protect it.
That's kind of cool. So bringing back a pretty old tactic, right?
This is like TLO stuff back in the day, yeah.
So he can make one Spinecrawler, but is that such a big deal? I don't think it is.
No, I don't think it is either. Especially with Immortals coming out. If this was still just gateways, I would actually make a pretty good argument for him trying to make this work. But the timing has been lost, and with Immortals coming out, they're gonna tear through Spinecrawlers like nobody's business.
Even if all 4 finish, they'd still have to advance to really threaten MaNa, and I don't think he's gonna be threatened yet. The units do go down. I mean, surprisingly, these Lings took on the Stalker, but a Stalker. that's still not very much. Second Immortal already on the way. Soon the mining will be pretty good for MaNa as well, as he does have more and more probes to transfer over. Not really mining right now. It's his 2 probes are chilling like a villain or something. But yeah, Spinecrawlers, they're going to finish, as said, but they do have to advance against an Immortal as well as switch and overcharges. Bly, however, I guess Persistence can really work out if MaNa does not deal with this quick enough, maybe there's a macro game for Bly somehow. I mean, he got a natural. He's 15 drones, but hey, things can happen. This is such a this has been a build for 3 expansions now. Like it existed in Wings of Liberty as well, but certainly in Heart of the Swarm. And I feel like most Prodosses got pretty good at dealing with it. Of course, timings are all different now with the economy change, and units can be different too. If you include like Ravagers, for instance, that can really mess things up. But for the most part, it's about being calm and knowing what you have to do, first of all, which, as I said, Prodosses for the most part do remember what to do, and just not underestimating your opponent, which he certainly did not. He already dealt with that first hatchery very smartly, and I don't think he'll make a mistake here by pushing out, with only Immortals into Lings, because that's the only thing I can imagine is a problem here, is that he pushes out with only Immortals. They get surrounded by the Lings, and then the Spine Crawlers actually help chip away at them. But if he has like Zealots and Sentries, then I don't think it's a problem.
This is first off, I didn't expect Bly to actually play this out, but the fact that he's played this out so far is very interesting to me. Now, MaNa's attempt to go for a drop for the Warp Prism I like, because there really is nothing at home. Bly does have 100% of everything on the other side of the map. So this should be able to just blast away the drones.
Yeah, I guess this is the other way to do it. If you don't want to just bust the Spine Crawler, you're just going to go around them. So Bly really doesn't have much at home. He's actually supply blocked, so it is just Queens at home.
It's not enough Queens either.
Yeah, this one just about to pop. This Warp Prism, that's a little bold of it, but yeah, 2 Immortals take down those Queens pretty quick.
Yeah, Force Field hits, and that Warp Prism does go down, but I mean, I kind of feel like, I don't know that Lings can break this with the Force Fields being there. Base in the main's going to go down. Spinecrawler's not able to advance. This is unfortunate.
Yeah, this is game for sure. Had there been no counter aggression, as I said, if MaNa was not going to ever bust out, then...
Yeah, if he'd been able to create this actual contain, like it's a soft contain, but turned into a hard contain, like he's got economy. He could have taken a third. I mean, he does clean this up, but he lost the main, so it's not worth it. In fact, 0 recall. Oh, cheeky.
That's pretty funny. So he loses 1 Immortal for it, and of course a couple of Sentries, but still has the Immortals to break through the Spine Crawlers. And now the Lings aren't here to get on top of these units. Another Warp Prism pops out to help Micro. That's pretty cool. Lings come back, but maybe it's a little bit too late. Once again, picking up those Sentries. Top pickup. Yeah, the Lings are just almost enough. And it does stop them from breaking down the other 2 Spine Crawlers. If Bly had not lost the main base, I'd be like, go Bly, but fortunately he has to double expand. That's a lot of minerals down in that. Even though he's still banking minerals, he can't very efficiently mine gas because he only has the 1 gas geyser in the main base. It's not mining at all anymore.
Oracle comes over too, and it's just, even if it ineffectively trades for drones, gonna get enough.
Yeah. Funky game. Now that MaNa has broken through the Spine Crawlers, though, this should be an easy win for him.
It's like always Bly on Ruins of Endion where this gets weird. I love the creep spread. I love the ideas of the double expand to take back his main and the third, but like, man, I can't see Bly making this work. If MaNa just were to warp in purely Adepts in a move, I think he'd be kind of good to go.
Yep. He has all the units that make this pretty safe too. An Observer in case there was Burrow, but obviously clear up creep. No advantage for Bly here. A Mothership for recall in case things actually do go wrong, which is probably not going to happen. And a War Prism to add a bit of blink to any unit that he wants, as well as instant reinforcements. This is a game-ending push, and it should game end here. Bly likes to believe in himself though, so he doesn't tap out too quick. Oh, so much for that recall.
Not that it was really necessary. Still fight with what he has. These Queens, even if they all had Transfuses and Zealots, these actually deal so much damage.
The Oracle, I believe, went into the natural again, killed more drones.
5, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and of course, the rest retreating.
I will say Bly has certainly given MaNa I almost want to call this like a quest for the first game.
So you didn't give him like a freebie? He gave him a quest.
Right. Like, to achieve victory, you must first talk to this person, then deliver the bread to this NPC, then take down that base and the third base and the main base in this order, and like he's going for a fleet beacon. I feel like MaNa's just like trolling at this point. He's just like, okay, bye. If you're not gonna leave, I'll do something stupid like carriers or a mothership even.
The thing is, I would never, you know, we're obviously biased because we know Bly and he's actually a pretty cool guy, but I never believed Bly to be BM when he doesn't leave, even when he's down below 50 supply.
Here's the thing. This is what the magic of Bly is. He's stubborn and makes stubborn games work when they shouldn't. So in every, there is actually, I guarantee you, one alternate reality out there where he made this game work.
Yeah. I mean, that alternate reality could just be not letting the main die. You know, he didn't lose any drones in that attack. He just lost a hatchery, but it was a very important hatchery. We have carriers on the way, a mothership too. MaNa is going to end this game with style, but you recall it's game number 1. And, you know, if he ends up losing the series 2-1, maybe Bly can return some of the BM. I don't think Bly saw any of that, though. Like, he didn't see the
mothership.
No, the mothership. Yeah. So he has no idea that Bly was, or MaNa was doing that.
Well,
it will.
We'll see how this next one goes. Euthermal did win 2-1, by the way, so congratulations to him. He advances forward one more time. While we are waiting, I need to go message somebody, so we're actually just going to use this as an excuse for a break. Sorry, guys. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay, we're back, and we are in game number 2. See if things change up, but very smartly probe scouting. In the bottom right side, Frozen Devil is going to be the red Protoss, Team Liquid's MaNa.
Bly, no. The top left as the blue Zerg, it is Bly. Okay, no, he's just taking the third.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think this looks a little bit more akin to the thing. So MaNa, by the way, is one of these few Protoss who has been very consistent about probe scouting. I would say through most of his career, but very, very much so in Legacy of the Void. And I think versus Terran more than Zerg, it's usually a better choice to do. But regardless, I love that this guy, we always talk about how smart he is at the game and how much advantage he can take from knowing what's going on. Again, if he never probe scouted the last game, Bly probably gets away with that build.
Yeah. I mean, you really gotta imagine if they don't scout with a probe to the other base, there's no scouting around their base. I mean, sometimes you'll see that from players, like they'll know someone's gonna proxy, so they don't scout the base of their opponent. They just try and find the proxy right off the bat, but it's a lot more rare. It's a lot rarer. If you're, just scout the base, especially on such a small map too. Like if this is an invader, you know, there's a 50-50 chance on scouting the correct location. It's gonna take you a long time too. Okay, maybe look for the proxies yourself, but otherwise.
I forgot.
What's up?
You know what happens in 3 hours from now?
What?
New Overwatch video.
Oh, I knew it had something to do with Overwatch.
I've been waiting for the Soldier 76 one since I first heard about it, man. Like,
Actually, tomorrow I get my Overwatch Collector's Edition box, which
Oh, you bought the Collector's Edition? I'm so jealous. I wish I had shelled out that money.
Yeah, now that you know the Soldier 76 is cool.
I know, I just got the Origins. I actually really hated Soldier 76 at the start.
Yeah, I wasn't too happy for the statue anyway, but I figured it would be a cool statue, so, you know, good deal. It's a lot of money, though. And it didn't give me the damn skin, so I didn't look super cool and beta like everyone else, so whatever. Stupid codes.
But man, did you actually? I was gonna ask you earlier. Did you see? Sorry, we'll talk about the game in a moment, guys. But did you see the cosplay contest that they did for the Korean OGN stuff last night?
Is that a contest? I thought there was a show off.
No, it was a contest. Someone cosplayed Torb's turret and like I think won first place.
Oh, that I did not see that. I saw the Mercy Tracer, Diva, and then I saw the Reaper. The Reaper gained some weight, yo.
There's a Junkrat, actually. The guy just came out basically with no shirt on and a tire strapped to his back. But the best part was, he had, like, animations built into his cosplay type thing. So, like, he did his death animation where he threw up a bunch of bombs in the air and just fell to the ground. Like, the guy was awesome.
Oh, that's so fun. Yeah, you know, I would, for any other game, I would not be like, let's do a cosplay group. But for Overwatch, I feel like they'd just be, like, super fun.
I want to play Reinhardt. I would pay somebody money if they could help me make, like, a Reinhardt costume.
That would be extreme, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think I know anybody who could help me do that anyways. But that would be like a cool project, I think, if I had money and time.
I think like Zarya, you might get like $1,000 to do something cool, but Reinhardt would be like thousands. Like, damn. Anyway, yeah. So more important, we had a regular build from MaNa. You know, like 3 gateways with resonating glaives is like a little bit different of an opener, but more importantly, Bly's Ling Overlord.
So this was already poked at with the Stalker, by the way. So that's why MaNa, it's a bit of false sense of security, right? MaNa actually gets baited to attack the Overlord over here. Bly gets in now with his weakened Overlord. Can 8 Lings do enough damage, though? I mean, this isn't like Bly dedicated and all into it. There's 3 bases back at home, plus 1 upgrades are on the way. But this is something that he's got a small amount of time on the Mothership Core. The Adept and the Stalker are all out of position. He's going to get some probes right off the bat. 5 go down. This is already a great start to these Lings.
Yeah, and that overcharge doesn't really hit all of them, so some good probe stocking now that he recognized what was going on saves at least one of the probes from dying, so only 5 is not devastating.
Bly could pull out of this too, phrasing, and keep those Lings alive, but with the Adepts over here, they're going to die if they run into the natural base.
Some of them are being transferred over to counter, which is not a terrible idea, but Bly already has 20 Lings popping out here. That's not going to be too difficult for him to clean up.
No, he should be fine, especially if any queens get involved with the fight too. But the worst part is trying to catch these after they've transferred around, so the idea is the best time to engage them is just after they finish your transfer. So unfortunately, didn't quite catch them there. Pulls back, but +1 weapons will finish up in a moment. 7 roaches on the way. And he's cut drones, interestingly enough. Now, I'm wondering if this is intentional or if this is responsive. Either way, he will have an army that can fight.
Yeah, I wonder if this was his plan all along, or he's like, wow, I did a bit of damage, and I think that I have a good composition against what MaNa went. So I couldn't tell you which one it is, but an attack could probably cancel this third base with only Adepts available. Unfortunately, the Roaches do not have speed, so the attack would be pretty slow, which is mostly Lings.
That's sick. He tried to elevate them up to the main really quick. Really just split MaNa's attentions for defense, but an overcharge, as we see, does deal with this pretty well. The Overlord going to fly away while the stock chips away. These Lings, unfortunately, are probably just slated to die. These ones managed to get on top of the Adepts, but +1 finishes after most of them die.
Yeah, I think he realized that, so like tried to go back in. It was a little bit of a dodge and weave, but now, yes, +1 melee is done. So he's not dedicating to a super big attack, but he is using the units he got.
I think MaNa may have used too many overcharges. There's only going to be 1 available for this. Okay, as you say, if he kept going, I think he gets a cancel on that third.
Yeah, I agree, but that's pretty smart of MaNa to get that War Prism. It does force the army back home, and that's really, really nice. Already get 6 drones to get some revenge for the earlier probe losses. More going down here as the Adepts get into the third base. Very nice damage being done. He can save them too. There you go.
It's like, this is how you drop things, man.
Yeah, I'm so much better at dropping than you.
6 range, built-in speed.
Yeah.
It is the Cadillac of drop vehicles.
So MaNa now has a third base, and he has a little bit of SimCity. He's getting to that higher tech and Immortals. This game looks pretty good for MaNa, and it's a little surprising because I really thought Bly was going to be able to get at least 1 cancel, and we saw how effective like 1 cancel can turn into like 2 cancels, can turn into a difficult game, like, you know, with Bly, Nurchio versus MaNa on Arena, but no cancels here. MaNa should be feeling fairly confident. Still needs to make sure to get some scouting in. Bly was the Zerg that was not just going for lurkers. As his next tech, he was going for Aspire, getting a little bit of surprise in. Not this game so far, but no. MaNa's gotta make sure of that.
I will say the Bly, despite like the failed attacks here, is still not looking too bad. Oh, is he catching a mortal? That'd be really nice. Or not.
He realized that he could get in, and well, that was all types of awkward. So Lings get into the main base, but Adepts are already warped in, and this shouldn't do a ton of damage.
The thing I was going to comment though before this, even for the attack team, man, like Bly's sitting here coming up on 4 bases. He's got a very nice drone count. I think as long as he doesn't play too silly by constantly giving units away, he could maybe take a decent fight. But unfortunately, we're getting to this point now where there's a lot of Immortals out. There's going to be sentries galore for force fields, so fighting around these ramps could be really devastating. These 4 Depth Run buys are actually going to be pretty good here for the natural base. The Roaches are busy looking at the front.
A little focus on the front, so as Adepts can get to the mineral line immediately. Still gonna get some drones, and that means the front push can clear up some more creep, which is still pretty nice. Can't really tango with the concave of Hydras yet. There's not enough force field to deal with that, so retreating definitely a better idea. I think he got the creep spreading queen, so that could be permanent, creep loss here, and it's gonna help out in the future. There is that Spire, by the way. Yeah, it is. Not many Zergs are going for like the mid to late game Spire transition, despite what it used to be so damn common. They're going for the lurkers, and then like busting, or in Nurture's case, just being everywhere at once, or in some other cases, someone's going up to a hive, but not necessarily just for a muta transition.
Oh, it's a catch on the observer.
Yeah. So this could be a very big surprise for MaNa. Of course, I think it's just fairly standard now for Protosses to prefer getting a Stargate mid to late game because Revelation is so good against lurkers that at least he'll have one Stargate to prep if the muta transition actually comes into effect. The last time we saw this, Bly used it as almost a last-ditch effort to win. It unfortunately did not. So we'll see if he holds off on it for a push or he actually goes right into it.
I'm actually really worried for Bly. Just look at the unit composition that there is right now, and especially considering storms are on deck. What he has to overwhelm in numbers, and it's not really doing that right now. And maybe he tries to pull an Urcho, maybe he tries to attack at 3 or 2 different locations at once, in which case I applaud those efforts. But once again, MaNa has set up a really great defense. There's pylons galore for overcharges. The mutas may be able to get to the back while his ground army attacks the front. I don't know how he plans to handle this, but either way, it's going to be tough because he's going to require a lot of control. There's no just simply a moving in this sort of situation.
Mm-hmm. Well, he didn't necessarily wait for a push, although MaNa looked like maybe he was posturing. He is going for the mutas as many as he can get from the minerals and gas that he had, which is quite a few. He's going to be up to like 15, and they're going to get +1 as well. And MaNa, unfortunately, if he was in... that was very awkward. If he was in mid-push, that actually helps, because the mutas will stay at home originally, and they might clear everything up, but at least you can start getting your phoenixes built. But it is just one phoenix at a time.
You know what's kind of cool, though, about doing this swap that I really like is Bly, as we saw, was going around picking off observers, trying to deny scouting. So MaNa specifically wouldn't see this. So MaNa specifically wouldn't be ready for this.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he's not going to keep the mutas at home. That could be either a blessing or a curse. Sometimes that's exactly what you need to buy time to get Stargates, and that does win you the game. And sometimes it just loses you your ground army, and then you're screwed either way. But the Zealots, they maybe buy like a little bit more time. That's same type of deal there, but less expensive, losing your entire army. A second Stargate, yeah, absolutely put down. Fleet Beacon 2 +1 started immediately. This had to be an immediate reaction from MaNa because this was not scouted until just now. And unfortunately, without Blink Stalkers, he's gonna have a tough time defending his initial bases.
I just want to point out, Bly should have only gotten like 3 or 4 probe kills there. It gets 10 because MaNa just stopped paying attention for a second or put his attention elsewhere. But while this goes forward, like this is where that advancement comes in where, okay, mutas right now are kind of hard to deal with, but given enough time, Phoenixes just wreck them. And with any Pulse Crystals, it's not even going to be close to a contest. But Bly right now really does have a lot of mutas. 30 mutas is way too much to deal with. Even if you land 6 storms on top of them, even with the Phoenixes, as long as he doesn't fly over top of an Archon, 27 mutas is going to be good. He's going to focus on the Fleet Beacon. He wants to deny the Anti Pulse Crystals. Will shut that down. Picks off a Stargate now. MaNa in a lot of trouble because he's getting attacked in the north side. Lynx take down that base. Mutas going ham on top of the Phoenixes. Don't give a fuck if these units are meant to be hard counters or not because these mutas are going ham.
Yeah. These mutas have definitely done enough damage. In fact, game-ending damage. MaNa has to push, and this is not an ideal scenario because he's not going to be able to get up enough Phoenixes to push and take care of the mutas.
Slicing out the Templar Archives. There's not going to be any more Archons or Storms to worry about. Picks off yet another Stargate. Back at home, this is a strong push. If he can defend this, that's one thing. But I feel like at a point here, Bly's actually going to be able to just bring the mutas back to win if he really needs to. But gonna have to give up this 4th base. That's gonna go down. A little bit sad to see. Phoenix is still roaming around trying to defend against something, anything. More mutas coming from the other side, up to 29 now. He's gonna give up that 3rd. Lurkers are done.
There are a lot of Immortals, but there's no for Bly. There was no guarantee there's an observer.
He's really focused over here. I think is what's happening right now.
Actually, there's no observer with the army. It's game the other way.
All right, Bly brings it back and ties up the series now 1-1. Nicely done. Very nicely done. We're going to go to small break, though, as we get to game number 3, guys. Once again, sorry to hate with these ads. I'm just having to talk with the admin quite a bit between games, so we'll see you guys soon. All right, tied up now 1-1. We go to the ace match, and it is game number 3. In the top right side of Invader, it's going to be none other than Team Liquid's MaNa.
The top left, as the blue Zerg, it is Bly.
Now, both are fighting for their lives, but both are also fighting for a chance to qualify through the losers bracket, and it's tough. It's really tough. All the players that are still in the winners bracket, really good players, but some are going to lose and drop down here, so it's going to get even worse the further and deeper you get into these brackets.
Yeah, a lot harder. Thanks to Black Sword for the 18-month resub. Big resub. Yeah, who do you think is actually going to get up to the first qualifying spot? So there's Euthermal, Drogo, Lobao, and Nurchio, which I believe are all being cast for the main stage.
Yeah, it's Paulo and Todd over on the ESL stream.
Yeah.
And I think as weird as it is, Drogo should beat Euthermal. I say that's weird because Drogo's had really bad PvT lately. And Little Bao versus Nurchio, I think Nurchio wins that 100%. Only because I know Little Bao is kind of on the cusp of like saying I want to do Overwatch versus StarCraft. So I don't know how invested he is right now in the practice and all that stuff.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And Euthermal Euthermal at this point for me has transferred his TVZ woes to his TVP. Not as bad, not as questionable as he was. He was actually legit tilted by like TVZ and Heart of the Swarm. But I actually give it to Drogo, especially if he's on a hot streak, and then Nurchio, just because. And then the winner of that, so Drogo versus Nurchio, I'm gonna give the Nurchio. So I think he's the one that gets that top one spot.
That'd be cool to see. I think all four of them are definitely players I would love to see playing in Shanghai one way or the other. Bottom half of the bracket still has too many people to really narrow it down just yet, but I do feel like looking at the brackets, the winner of this series probably has a pretty good chance to at least get to the losers bracket finals.
Let's see here. Let me face Daishi Guru, and then the loser of. Oh, they don't. They never make it easy, do they?
No.
I don't know who they face in the losers bracket round of 4B. Damn it. So I can't predict from that far away. But back to this game in particular, you talked about how the spawn positions can really affect how this is going to look. So when I saw horizontal, I immediately thought like drops and multi-pronged attacks and just a little bit of a headache for MaNa more so than Bly. But if it gets to a mid game and they're both macroing so far, then I think that kind of reverses and MaNa has ample opportunity to get War Prisms in.
See, it's interesting to me because after watching that Muta play, a map like this really appeals to air for both sides. So MaNa, I kind of just thought would go for, oh, well, hold the phone. It's going to be Overlord speed. We'll see if an Evo Chamber comes in soon. It's not rush drops, though, is the thing, and it's not going to be a whole hell of a lot. Because Bly's not overproducing queens right now, and that's usually what we end up seeing. But point of this being that's going to be for scouting and all this other good stuff. But going back to the topic of air for a moment, not only is the Stargate Opener really popular in PvZ in general, it's almost standard. So it is a little bit odd to see MaNa prioritize the resonating glaives. That Warp Prism probably going to come into play, and we'll see that in good effect. But I really thought Bly was going to go faster for mutas on a map like this.
I think it's very difficult to pull off early game Spire versus Protoss, as the chances of being a depth attacked are too large. At least that's what I'm thinking it is, because we don't see it that often anymore. But
actually, that's an interesting point. What do you think is the bigger threat in that scenario? That adept attack that you just described, or just the fact that there'd be a Phoenix opener?
To not go for a Spire, the adept attack, I think, because it's usually only one Stargate opener, and if you can still surprise him with that. But hey, it's Banelings. Just calm down. But also, the thing is that, sure, horizontal spawn, mutas, good, great. They're pretty much always good in certain situations. Invader itself does not play that well to air because of the rocks being all like they are up in the top left and top right. But anywho, it's Banelings, obviously. Initially, we'll see what he goes into after, because this shouldn't be like a true all-in. Like, there should be some attempt at macro after this bust. But we'll see, won't we? And MaNa is going to have to, well, utilize everything it can to hold on.
What Bly's going for is going to be good for his own defense, too, against the depths, Banelings and plus links. But I'm really, really hoping, like, once we see those +2 weapon upgrades finish up, we'll start seeing some drops come out. The fact that Banelings, like, when they only take one Baneling to kill probes, it's massive, massive damage spread out over a whole mineral line. But right now, this attack does need to be thwarted, and looks like it will. Link's going to hold them in place. Here comes the Banelings. Not a problem, as he does clean this up. Probably doesn't even need to use the Banelings, to be honest. But either way, those Adepts all go down very quickly. Now, there's a drop in the main. He's going to pull this back over this direction, but he's got the units to take care of this. The Warp Prism's the only real threat. The Queen's trying to focus that down initially. But as we see, there's another Queen over here. The Ling's already responding. 7 drones go down. This hasn't been enough damage yet. But that's the annoying thing about a Warp Prism.
I was just talking about these rocks, and that's definitely affecting this. So that should have died, probably, had the natural Queen been focus firing this entire time. But unfortunately, it was not, so it might just get out. That's pretty nice for MaNa. That's continued counterattacks and maybe pulling back an army when you really need to. So Bly, he got a lot of Lings, he got a couple of Banelings. It was used purely for defense, as he had to, clean up 2 different bases.
Yeah.
But his +1 is finishing up. I'm surprised he's not at least trying to send them over to the 3rd. Okay, 14 more Lings are on the way, but so, he's also droning. And this is where we're going to wait and see what that layer is really for. Ooh, 3 Overlord drops coming in, too.
So, shout out to Mr. Borsmacker real quick. $5 donation. Message says, butts. And
Thanks.
I like that message. I like it a lot.
Is it a big message? Do you like big message?
No,
with
it's
butts?
just lowercase. It's a cute, tiny little butts.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Okay, so the drop over, let's finish up. And my question really is, how much does this get dedicated? There's a cannon up. There's going to be an overcharge. It's really hard to actually just get these in. But if you can drop Banelings on this probe line, especially you consider the timing on the game. Okay, it's Link drops. But let's say you consider the timing on the game, like mineral patches are running thin. Probes are going to be stacking a little bit harder. Again, like a Baneling drop is just so appealing. But Bly's heading in a couple different directions with this. This Yellow Orphan's going to be a bit annoying. I don't think he's actually got any Lings left at home. He did take all of them with him by the looks of it.
Well, I saw the +1 missile attack and was like, okay, where's the Roach Horn of the Hydralisk Den? It's actually 2 Hydralisk Dens. That might be on purpose, but it's also a Spire. So we'll see which one he dedicates more to, or at all to, I guess. And how MaNa's going to be able to respond to that. Because if MaNa scouts, he's going to see both the Hydralisk Den and the Spire, and he himself is going to have the same question, like, what are you actually going for?
Alright, Lings of the main are cleaned up pretty quickly. Drop in the 3rd also somewhat ineffective. Bly doesn't really get much with this or for this, and it's a bit unfortunate of a waste of Lings here. But you know what? He's taking a 5th while this goes on. So 4th and 5th taken simultaneously. Yeah. His income's not too bad, but can he swarm? Can he get the units to just overwhelm MaNa?
I really wondered if the double Hydralisk Den is on purpose, so he could get both the upgrades as well as the Lurker Den. It wasn't.
That's what I thought it was going to be for, but yeah, I guess just a mistake is a mistake.
Yeah. So just the Hydra upgrades for now. He is going to dedicate to mutas first, but maybe not as much as last game. It probably will depend on how much damage they initially do, and they did a lot of initial damage last game. So
yeah.
If it is going to be a muta game straight up, then expanding like Bly has is really, really good, especially as he expands farther down south. And MaNa's going to have a tough time being able to clear up his economy, much less actually the mutas, because he only still has... Oh, no, he didn't for Stargate this game. That's right. So he has 0 Stargates.
We haven't actually seen anyone take bases that far south in quite some time.
Ever.
As you said, I think we've cast like 1 game, but that was like not even like a full-on macro split map game. It was just like, okay, you got a base, but how much did that matter? Baneling's going to drop on top of the probes. The mutas also coming on top of those cannons. Doesn't get a single Baneling drop, though. That's depressing.
Yeah, they tried. All right, so initial good damage here. The Stalkers, they can't really help out. They don't have Blink. There is no Stargate, and MaNa, maybe wisely, initially is not going for Stargates, because there could have been a Hydra transition, as there's like a very tiny one going on right now, but Bly is also dedicating to more mutas, so I don't know. That's not enough mutas to really take on 3 Archons, unless there's some serious magic boxing going on, so Bly is so hesitant.
Ideally, they could avoid the Archons to take out the Warp Prism, and I think that's going to be the greatest benefit of what they could do.
Yeah, there's an army waiting, though. That'll certainly help out. Now 4 Archons, but maybe with the Lings and a couple of Hydras.
Oh, snipes off the 1 Archon on the back. Oh, gets picked up by the Warp Prism, but still, these mutas can fight.
Oh, no. Oh, no, they can't anymore.
Oh, God damn it. That was a big kill.
In like 1 second.
Bly went from like 70 supply to like 22. That was horrific. God. He's not even trying to move these mutas anymore. That Archon still lives. It's the worst part. He's got 15 kills on him, Zombie Grub. 16 kills on the other.
Oh my god, that might just be game here.
Yeah. 15
MaNa's
Hydras, 30 links.
Archons.
Well, hang on. I think Blind might be able to hold with this production, but can he hold the follow-up on a MaNa? I mean, this was such a devastating attack.
That really made up for the probe losses in the main base. And
Yeah.
I definitely not expect that to happen. Usually Archons, like, they don't get those supreme kills. You know, at the very least, the mutas say, okay, I don't want to deal with this anymore, and they counterattack.
Well, I was fairly particular with the way he was using the mutas, too. I didn't expect them to be caught like that, I guess.
Yeah. It was seriously 1 second.
think-
Like, you realize that they splash, and then a second later, they're dead.
I mean, it was the right call to go for the Warp Prism, though. Like, again, like, all these units coming in, these Stalkers, these Zealots, like, this was all the Warp Prism's doing.
Yeah,
So, unfortunately, this game might just be over. I think Bly is going to lose, Zombie. His production just isn't strong enough to hold.
Yeah, that's... yeah. This is game, and MaNa did not need any Phoenixes to
No,
do it.
when
He
you
needed
get-
Archons.
When you get Archon hits like that, you're going to... Oh, boy. So, get a little bit sweaty in here. Whew.
Yeah, this is kind of an unbelievable moment. You took 5 bases. You had your Muta transition going well. You were trying to get to Hydras too. It's a big map. You think you have a lot of time, and instead everything is over in an instant. That is not something that's really going to be like, oh, that makes sense. You're probably going to be a little bewildered that you just lost this game. Of course, Bly is also, as we were talking about, pretty stubborn, and that can sometimes bring him back. But if he had like 1,000 in the bank and build nothing but mutas, mutas can go a long way. And that's probably what they should have done, is go a long way back to MaNa's base and continued harassing them instead of taking on the Archons. But he chose what he chose, and there is no 1,000 mineral banks.
No, there isn't. This kind of sucks, because I thought Bly was in a pretty good spot, right, leading up to that moment, and I was kind of cheering for him a little bit too, but whatever. This is my friendship bias, I guess, whatever you want to call it. He's trying to expand. He's going to try him, but Gratz was shot. Bly knows exactly what was up. All right, MaNa, congratulations, though. Definitely earning that victory. He's going to continue on in the loser's bracket. He'll go on to fight the winner of Daishi and Guru next. But they are still fighting and playing, and we don't know what'll be going on. Okay, so it looks like by the way this will work out, I'm not sure if we actually get to cast the next round or not. I'm gonna
Oh, real?
I think we do, but I'm just gonna confirm before we start like promising people matches, right? Because it's either the next round's our last round, or we're already done. I don't know which. It's one of the two situations. So, either way, we'll be going to a commercial break while we get this sorted, and we'll see you guys in a few minutes. Hopefully with more games to come.